the Bengals plan on signing Jamar Chase, Tee Higgins, and Trey Hendrickson to long-term deals. As a Bengals fan, I honestly don't really know what to think about this, really only because I really don't trust the Bengals front office at all. Even as a Bengals fan, I feel like I should, but I just don't trust them at all. I really don't. Like, Higgins will likely be tagged, which for me is like, it's like, who said this? I feel like someone on ESPN said you can't be selfish. I mean, obviously not, but you can't just tag Higgins a second year in a row. But Cincinnati is working on a long-term deal, or so they say. But with their front office, it's like, who knows? Like, they're so unpredictable, and they're really not. I don't even think they have a GM. I don't think they have an owner, Mike Brown, and really that's about it. He's the owner or whatever. But we need a general manager that's actually really, really solid. But if the Higgins does sign a tag, the Bengals will pay $26.1 million to keep him from hitting the market. I did read, I don't know if this is true or not, but teams, after signing the tag and once free agency is up and running, I believe there's teams that can actually discuss with Higgins if they can beat out the Bengals $26.1 million if Higgins really likes a deal from a team, and I'm pretty sure he can just sign with that team, and the Bengals would get 2 first-round picks. I don't know if that's 2 first-round picks for next year's draft or a pick from this year's draft. Like, let's say the Patriots, for instance. Let's say the Patriots, they get Tee Higgins, however it works, the non-exclusive franchise tag, and the Patriots owe the Bengals 2 first-round picks. So this year's draft, they have 1 first-round pick, so I wonder if they would trade that first-round pick so that pick number 4 would go to the Bengals, and then sometime next year they'd get 2 first-round picks as well. So I don't really know how this works out. But as a Bengals fan, I feel like it's a win-win in a different way. On one hand, you get to keep Tee Higgins, who's the best receiver in the market, and not even the best receiver, but the best player on the market right now. And when he's on the field and healthy, he's a really good complement to Jamar Chase. And if Higgins can stay consistently healthy, then he's going to be one of the highest paid receivers in the league. High risk? Did I say that? I said highest paid receivers in the league. On the other hand, you get 2 first-round draft picks. And if it's this year, that's even better because you get pick number 4 and pick number 17. So with pick number 4, you could get like a defensive guy. Like you could get, if Abdul Carter is there for some reason, even though I think he might end up with the Titans, you could get a defensive guy or maybe a receiver to replace Tee Higgins, like Travis Hunter if he's available at number 4, or Tedoroa McMillan, which I think he'd be more available at 17 than 4. But yeah, it's a win-win in a different way. But I'd rather keep Higgins for sure. So we'll see what the Bengals do with that. But for Jamar Chase, I mean, he still has another year on his contract. But I mean, they should have paid him last year because now they're gonna have less cap space this year than they like. If you already paid Jamar Chase last offseason, which would have been much cheaper than this year because he's coming off a career year where he triple crowned with 127 catches and 1,708 yards and 17 touchdowns. He's predicted to become the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL and wants around $40 million a year. If you sign Chase to a 4-year deal, 40 times 4, that is a lot of money. I mean, $40 million a year, that's roughly $40 million a year, somewhere around that. That is a good amount of money. That's $160 million through 4 years. And that is like market shattering. Like, that is like a massive deal. And if you paid him last offseason, which probably would have been around, what would it be, like $100 million, maybe a little more, maybe $115 million. It would have been around maybe a little bit at or a little under Justin Jefferson's current contract, which is $35 million a year. So obviously like $5 million under that, and that's a lot of money. So I feel like the Bengals should have done that last offseason, which would have saved them a lot of money. If we would have signed Higgins or Chase last offseason, this offseason would have been much more flexible than this offseason because it's a really important offseason for the Bengals. However, on Hendrickson's situation, it is similar kind of to Chase's, but he is like making $18.6 million a year compared to the market's $30 million a year. I mean, Hendrickson still has another year on his contract, so it's kind of like Chase. They both want to get paid. Hendrickson said, trade me or pay me. That's quite literally what he said. But Hendrickson finished with a league-leading 17.5 sacks for the second straight year. So anytime you're a defensive end making like much less money than the actual market, and you lead the league in sacks for 2 years in a row, then you deserve to get paid a lot of money. I feel like Hendrickson could get 25 to $30 million a year, which would get him a really solid contract. We'll see what the Bengals do. I really don't think they're going to pull this off, only because the Bengals front office is straight out bad, and they don't know how to handle anything.